Well, hello everybody. This is Birch, Sales Manager for Australia and New Zealand for Reliv International. And we're really excited today. We've got a great webinar here for you today. And I'd like to kick off just by saying welcome. And thank you so much for putting aside your time. I know everybody's time is valuable. Everyone's busy in this day and age. But thank you so much for putting aside your time and for coming on to listen to and view this webinar today. As you all would be aware, we have a very special guest today, but I'm going to leave that up to somebody else to introduce that special guest today, and that other person is the one and only Managing Director of Reliv Australia and New Zealand, Sue Stone. Welcome, Sue.
Thanks very much, Bernie, and hello everybody. It's a pleasure to be on this webinar with you today. And I just want to touch briefly before I introduce our very special guest, our 3-year vision. You've been hearing this week in and week out because it is so important that we want to reach that $1 million sales a month within the next 3 years. And what that means for you is that you will be making a lot more money with Reliv, and you'll be helping a lot more people with their health and also with the lifestyle that you are able to offer them through this fantastic business opportunity. Our top priorities for this year, we've shared this with you before, but it's developing the brand awareness, increasing our online capabilities, of course implementing our social media strategy, which we're doing through our Facebook, our Pinterest, we're looking at Twitter, lots of things that we've got in the pipeline that you'll be seeing rolled out as the year progresses, and also our PR strategy that we'll be introducing. And we have a bigger focus on the director level of the business. And of course, we introduced on the 1st of May our Now with Lunarich, which we're so excited about. And there is more than 50 published papers from more than 25 research institutions showing that Lunasin works at the cellular level to promote a wide range of health benefits, such things as heart health, cholesterol management, inflammation reduction, improved immunity, and this is all happening at the cellular level. And what's most exciting is that Reliv are the only people with Lunarich. So go out there and shout it from the rooftops. You have got something so fantastic in your hands. And as we've said before, if there's people that you spoke to some time ago about Reliv and you haven't heard from them or spoke to them in a little while, this is a fabulous opportunity to get back to them and tell them what we now have in our, what was already top of the line product, really second to none, and it now contains that Lunarich in it. We've creating the resources that you need to help you build your business, and most of what we're really excited about is online applications. A distributor can now join online. We have a lot of tools both online, and we have our new product catalogue, our new Getting Started guide. So we are trying to reach people through all different mediums, whether it be social media, whether it be online, and of course we still are putting brochures and flyers out through, with orders in the mail. So it's all available. You can order those brochures, so give us a call or you can order them online. But whatever we can do to help you build your business and to be successful, that's what we're trying to do. We're communicating also through our Inside Reliv that comes out to you every second week. We've now realised what a lot of the problem was with the Inside Reliv, why people weren't receiving it. So I believe now that everybody's getting it. If you have any problems and you're not getting this issue that you'll be due out next week, please give us a call at the office and we'll look into that for you. But of course you can subscribe in your distributor portal for that. But what I'd like to do now is introduce you to our very, very special guest. Scott Montgomery has been with the company for over 20 years. I've had the pleasure of the privilege of working with Scott for 18 of those years. He knows every facet of Reliv, both in the United States, where he held a senior management position, and the rest of the Reliv world, where he has travelled extensively. And we were absolutely thrilled when he made the decision to join the Reliv Asia Pacific as our president. And we couldn't be happier with a person that knows Reliv inside out, knows the direct selling business. He attends the direct selling worldwide events on behalf of Reliv, and gives me great pleasure, Scott, to invite you on this webinar today. It was only a couple of months that you were here in Australia and New Zealand. So welcome, Scott Montgomery.
Hi, Sue. Thank you, and hi everybody, and hi Bernie to you too. So I'm happy to be on this webinar with everybody, and look forward to the next 45 minutes or so. So thanks. Yeah, thanks, Sue.
Thanks, Scott. And now I'll turn it over to you, Bernie. I believe you've got a number of questions lined up that you've got for Scott.
Thanks, Sue. I certainly do. Welcome, Scott. Great to have you on board today for our webinar. I know everyone's really excited to hear your views on just exactly what's happening with Reliv and where it's going. So let's get started.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Bernie.
Well, the first question we've got for you today, Scott, is what is Reliv's purpose? Why is it here?
Sure. You know, that's a great question. And you know, you think about why Reliv was started, and it's now 25 years. We're celebrating our 25-year anniversary this year. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be celebrating that in just a few weeks in Orlando. And, you know, but you know what? Reliv was started longer than that. I mean, it was longer than 25 years ago, and really, you know, not a whole lot has changed since then. And what I mean by that is, you know, the product, the very first product was created because somebody needed better health, and it seems like, you know, for the most part, that's how most people get introduced, you know, through to Reliv is because they're looking for better health and you know, people are looking for hope, they're looking for opportunity, and I know sometimes that can be a little cliche, but it's true. You know, it's somebody needed better health, and it all started with Dr. Ted when he created the first product, and it was by accident that he ran into Bob and Sandy, and they were looking for better health at the time, and it was soon after that we figured, or learned, I guess, that because of the product we had, that people could also, you know, they could improve their finances too, and you know, really, and that's not much different than you know, today a little bit. People are first attracted to Reliv for two reasons. They either want better health or they want better wealth, and you know, that's really, you know, Bernie, that's really how it started. You know, some 25 plus years ago. So.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, Scott, that there's really the two main reasons that people do get involved, and that is for better health or better wealth, and we offer that great opportunity here. So it's something that I hope people are acutely aware of. So that leads me into the next question: is why does anyone need what Reliv is offering?
Well, and I'd say, you know, the way I'd answer that is very similar. You know, what Reliv has is a way for people to improve their health and improve their finances, and it seems to be true. It doesn't matter, you know, where you live, what markets you live in, that most people struggle with that, and they want a better lifestyle, both financially and with their health, and that's why I think we've got such just a great opportunity ahead of us, because that's what we offer. You know, there's a need out there in the world, and that's what Reliv has to offer. Is better health and better finances.
Well, it's interesting, Scott. One of our leaders said to me the other day they love going to social occasions where they don't know many people, because they can always find a handful of people who want to complain about their health or their wealth. So we're situated in the perfect place.
Yep, that's it. And it doesn't matter where you live. I think it's common around the world. So.
Well, therefore, you mentioned it being common around the world, so do you think that the Australian and New Zealand marketplace is big enough for us and our competitors?
There's no doubt. You know, one thing I just received in the last week, Bernie, was the 2012 data from the Direct Selling Association, and you know, if you look at the entire industry, the industry grew. It's now 167 billion, the industry, and that grew about 5.4% from 2011, and 44% of that 167 billion comes from the Asia Pacific region. And if you want to break it down even further, about $1.5 billion of that comes from Australia, and that's an increase of about 4% from 2011. And you know, and if you look at the number of distributors that are in the industry, Bernie, just in Australia alone, you're close to about 400,000 distributors right there in Australia and New Zealand. But what's the population? I think the population of Australia and New Zealand's about 23, maybe 23.5 million people.
It's
So
actually
if you just
27 in
kind of
total,
do the
Scott.
math there, less than
Sorry to interrupt you.
27 in total.
27,
Okay.
yep.
No, that's not. That's I want to be accurate. So, but anyway, if you do the math, that's that's what 1 or maybe 1 or 2% of the entire population of Australia and New Zealand is involved in our industry, and so I mean it's incredible, and people ask all the time, is there enough room for us in the competition? And the answer is absolutely. And we want the competition to do well because that's good for our industry. We don't compete with them because the world is too big. And so when people ask me, well, what about the competition out there? What about this company, or what about that company? And it's like, we want those companies to do well, and they want us to do well, because all of that combined reflects positively, for the industry. And if you look at, just kind of digging into those numbers a little bit, out of all those Asia Pacific markets in 2012, every one, with the exception of one country, grew in 2012 versus 2011. And so there's no doubt that there's enough space for all of us out there.
Well, Scott, thanks for that, and I'm sure that's going to make our distributors feel much better, because it is a question I get asked on a pretty regular basis. And so it does lead me into the next question, and you've sort of answered it partly, but what are our competitors up to? What are they doing that maybe we're not?
You know what, Bernie, I was just at the International DSA, and I might refer to that a couple times on this webinar, but I was just there earlier this month in Phoenix, and there's probably several hundred companies that are represented there, and these are the CEOs or presidents of all the companies that we all know that are out there and that are in our industry. And fortunately, I've gotten to know many of them quite well, and either have breakfast or lunch or dinner, or we just we always spend time together. And I get just the privilege, or have the privilege, I guess, of talking to them and hearing what they do, and they learn what we do, and you know what, there's one thing that all of those successful companies are doing that it's one thing in common, and it's massive consumption, and it's massive sponsoring, and it's people talking to people all the time. And I mean, they put a lot of people on their products, and they bring a lot of people into their company as a distributor or representative, or whatever they call it in their particular company. They've got great auto ship programs. Many of them do that are successful, and the auto ship just makes and our product is perfect for it, Bernie, as you know, because our product comes in either a half-month supply or a full-month supply, and a lot of the successful companies, that's what they're doing. It's massive consumption, massive sponsoring, and things like auto ship, which are programs that we have. So.
Well, thanks, Scott. And yeah, I can't agree with you more. I think auto ship is absolutely the lifeblood, and is going to see us grow more and more in this part of the world as well. And now here's a very good question. As an organization gets larger, there can be a tendency for the institution, so to speak, to dampen the inspiration. So how are we going to, at Reliv, how are we going to stop that from happening? And now that we've embraced the future technologies, how are we going to keep that inspiration going and not become institutionalized?
Yeah. You know what? This is this is something I believe that we all have to kind of remember, that you, me, Sue, every distributor that we have in every country around the world is, and you know what, we've got to treat every day like it's our first day. People have got to think back when they first joined Reliv, and why they joined Reliv, and the things that make them excited about the product line or the business opportunity. We have to kind of ask ourselves, why did we first join? And if we can always, remember those reasons, those are the things that keep us going every day, and those are the things that keep us excited. Those are the things that keep us motivated. Are those things that those feelings we had when we first joined the company. Everybody comes in and they've got big dreams and they've got big hope, and we can never let that fade. We always have to kind of treat every day like it's our first day and remember the reasons why we joined, and I just think that's important. It doesn't matter if you've been in the company a year or 25 years like me. I mean, I got to remember. I wake up every day and remember, why I'm doing it, and treat every day like it's the first, and I just think that's important.
Thanks, Scott. That was a really great answer. That really covered that off. And so you've been around with the company for a long time. You've come up through the ranks. You've done many different roles with the company as you've grown yourself, actually. And so what's more important, do you think, core values or vision?
Well, I can't say that either one's more important, Bernie. It's core values, are basically what? I guess they're kind of the principles that guide you, and principles like integrity, which you hear us talk about all the time, that either from a corporate standpoint or from a distributor standpoint, integrity, from a product standpoint, quality, trust, through the foundation that we have, the charitable arm, the giving back, those are all principles that have kind of guided us through the years, and then you talk about vision, and you talk really about I guess the manner in which you see something. It's your inspiration, it's what keeps you going, it's imagination, it's where you want to go, and I think both of those things, core values and vision, are important to us. And Sue shared that $1 million a month. That's part of our vision. That's where we want to go. That's our inspiration. That's our imagination. And how are we going to get there? We're going to follow our core values. Quality, trust, integrity, things like that. So they're both important.
I couldn't agree with you more, Scott. I think that was exactly how it is, and our vision. As you know, we share that vision on every webinar with all of our distributors. Of course, we're totally committed to it, and as Sue said, if the company achieves our vision, then that means our engaged and active distributors will be making more money too, and achieving financial independence.
That's right.
So who, therefore, is our targeted demographic when we're looking at potential preferred customers and distributors? Who do you see as our demographic?
Well, I would say anybody that breathes. I mean, we've got a product that you hear people talk about that all the time. Our product is a product that is important to anybody that cares about their health, or anybody that cares about their friend's health, their family's health. I mean, it's and you talk about just the potential for preferred customers. Basically, a preferred customer is somebody that comes into Reliv and they just want to buy at a discount, and that's okay. People enjoy buying things at discount these days, and these are people. Preferred customers are people that help you achieve your vision and your monthly requirements, and you give these folks great service, because someday, you know what, they may just become a great distributor themselves, and so anybody is a potential. And the way I kind of look at it, Bernie, and is that we've got a fantastic compensation plan, and some people start with a position of strength, which I think they should, which is master affiliates. These are people that have a vision. They've got a bigger goal, and you know what? Maybe that doesn't fit for everybody, and maybe you've always got that fallback position of quick starts. Maybe that someone wants to get in and get on the products, or get their family on the products, or maybe a few friends, and if that doesn't work, you've got another fallback position of preferred customer, and that's something that I think is that everybody would be interested in. And that's the thing I like about the preferred customers. It is, if nothing else, we should have a lot of preferred customers, and eventually those will become, my bet is most of those will eventually become great distributors someday. So.
And Scott, going on from what you were saying there, in the past there has been a little bit of a tendency for people to try and help people who are unwell, as opposed to, as we move forward, looking at the wellness industry rather than the sickness industry, if I could put it that way, and
That's
really
right.
looking at people from a demographic that sort of suits our social media strategy as well, of that 25 through to 45-year age group, and people who just want to be healthy and they're already fit and healthy. And do you see them being a big part of our future?
Absolutely. If I include myself in that group. That's why I take Reliv products, and I've been taking them for 30 plus years, and that's a big part of my life is staying fit, staying healthy, staying active. And absolutely, and that's a big market for us, but I also know there's really, this is the thing, Reliv has got not only that market, but we also have that baby boomer market, that we talk about here, back home so much. That's a huge market and a big market. So we've got two significant markets out there that I think are available to all of us, and that's the thing that we're just not, we don't have just one little niche product or one little niche market. We got significant markets that we that are available to us there.
It really does show the potential for where we can go, doesn't it, Scott?
Oh, without a doubt. Yep, without a doubt.
So therefore, just getting on to my next question, we've talked about the core values, we've talked about our demographics, we've talked about the opportunities that we have, but do we have the right leadership?
Absolutely, without a doubt. When I think of leadership, and it doesn't matter if it's corporately or if it's from a distributor standpoint. Corporately, obviously, it's important, and I think that's something that was kind of first and foremost. That as I stepped into my new role, Bernie, from the Chief Operation Officer of the parent company to this role is to find the right leaders and to find the right people, and it's kind of like being a coach of a sports team, and it doesn't matter if it's basketball or baseball or whatever. As a coach, you're always trying to find talent and surround yourself with talents, and from a staff standpoint, we've got good leadership, we've got we've got great leadership, we've got great support staff, and people that understand the industry, and people that understand how to lead people, and people that understand Reliv, and that's critical, and we just got good people. One of the things that, and I'll say this, refer to this again, just being at the DSA a couple of weeks ago, and I probably had a half dozen people, probably 6 people, come up to me and say, because we've been around the DSA for a long time, but just say, you know what, you guys are some of the nicest people that we have in the entire industry. Just your team, your group of distributors, you guys are you're one company that we respect the most, and that's a fact. I probably had a half dozen people come up and just say that, and I don't think they were encouraged to say it. I think they said it because they meant it, and I think that's true.
Well, that's an amazing acknowledgement, and from where I sit, being reasonably new with the company, I would actually have to agree with that statement, and it really leads me on what you're just saying, and you've partly answered this, but we've got great leaders,
Yeah.
We've got great leaders in the field and corporately. Do we have the right employees? Because I noticed when I started the great culture there is with this company, and when you have a culture, employees are a big part of that.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we do. I think whether it be here at the home office in Chesterfield or in the Australia office or the Philippine office. I had a compliment this morning, as a matter of fact, about the folks in the Philippine office, and just what a committed group that was, and how well they work together, and they kind of see themselves as brothers and sisters, and you know what, that's just the kind of people we have in this company, and they all want the same thing. They want to see our distributors successful, and they're willing to go the extra mile to see that happens, and you know, that doesn't happen by accident. That happens because there's you know, they've got great people that they report to, and just, you know, great departments that you know, great people that run those departments. So absolutely, Bernie.
And it's interesting because the cultures I mentioned, I believe firmly is started from the top, and so a lot of kudos and a lot of recognition needs to go to your father for what he's created and originally set up, that's been carried through by you and Ryan.
Well, I appreciate that, because that's you know, the truth is, you know, we take that seriously. You know, there's times people say, oh, you work for your dad, you must have it easy, and it's honestly, we take it serious, and it's actually the opposite. You know, there seems to be more pressure on us because we want to perform at a higher level. It's you know, it's important to me that you know, the people that I work with every day, that we're always communicating and talking and make them feel like family. You know, this you know, Reliv was started by a family, and we've got multiple families in this company, and it's important that we make everybody feel that way too. So yeah, I appreciate you saying that.
Well, Scott, that is interesting what you're talking about there, because I have to say that to me, that's one of the first things I ever noticed about working here, is how it seems like very much like a family, and the people who work in the Australia-New Zealand office here are very much a family. And we talked about leadership, creating culture, etc. But what is one characteristic that you believe every leader should possess?
Okay, you know what? I think there's several, and I'll mention a couple, but then I'll mention, you know, I don't know if it's the most important, but it's one that I believe to be important. But, you know, I think leaders have got to be consistent, and I think leaders have got to, you know, they've got to believe in themselves. You know, obviously they've got to be happy. Happy people attract happy people. You know, leaders have always got to look to improve themselves. You know, leaders can't ever be satisfied. They've always got to, you know, strive for more and strive to be better. You know, I guess maybe one that I just think that's probably as important as anything, and that's leaders have to lead by example. You know, people will do what you do, not necessarily what you say, but people will do what you do. And if leaders constantly are working, if they're constantly talking to new people, if they're constantly putting new people on the product, if they're constantly sponsoring new front lines, that's probably, you know, the most important thing that I believe a leader is lead by example. And I don't think leaders ever stop. They're always leading by example, and so there's lots of things, Bernie, but that's one I think is probably as important as any.
Okay, thanks for that, Scott. So having said that, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing our Reliv leaders today?
Well, you know, I would say don't ever be satisfied. You know, there's always room for improvement. You know, people, you know, to be better, to keep learning, to keep growing, to be stronger. You know, it seems like once you kind of settle for where you're at, it seems like you kind of, whether just say in your business or whether it be in heck in our business back here in Chesterfield, once people are kind of happy with where they're at, what do you normally see? You normally see, you know, soon you start to see decline, and that's, you know, so I don't think, you know, I think that's a challenge. Is sometimes I think people get satisfied and or complacent, and that's just something I think that people always have to kind of first be aware of, and then understand how to address it. But yeah, don't ever be satisfied. I think that's a big challenge for people.
Okay, so what's one mistake that you've witnessed over the years that you've been working with leaders? What's the one mistake you've seen leaders making more frequently than others?
Well, I think everyone's got a thought on that, but my my opinion on that, and as I talk with just associates or I think when people stop sponsoring front lines, leaders never stop. Leaders want to outperform others. They want, they're always looking to improve. And, this answer really is not much different than, I guess, the last two questions is, never stop sponsoring front lines. I think if people start, I think if you're always concentrating on your front line, depth will always take care of itself. And, if you're working your front lines and you're teaching your front lines to work with their front lines, what are they going to teach their front lines to work with their front lines? And I just think that's, sometimes a mistake that people is they stop sponsoring and they stop focusing on their front lines, and you got to take care of business first. So
it's interesting. What you're also talking about there is duplication, which we all know is such a big part of this industry.
That's exactly right. Yep, that's exactly right. And that's part of some of these adjustments, Bernie, that we've made just in the last few months is we want to make this business duplicatable and attractive to more people. Make it simpler, make it faster, and duplicatable. That's the key. Is duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. And I think as people work on their front lines and they teach people to work and develop their front lines, depth and organizations will naturally happen.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Scott. So therefore, I would say that you've probably answered this question, but what can our leaders do to ensure they continue to grow and develop?
Well, I'm going to go back and I guess just say lead by example. Be flexible, continue to sponsor, find out what others want and help them get there. Everybody's different. Some people just want to come into this industry and they just want to consume a great product. Some people want to come in and they want to make $500. They want to make a car payment. Some people want to make $1,000 and maybe make a mortgage payment. But then you got people that want to, that see it bigger than that. And maybe they want to make $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month. And I'd say find out what people want and help them get there. And lead by example, and that's, again, that's, I guess I'm kind of saying the same things here, but that's what I believe is leaders lead by example and they help others get what they want.
Well, I think, Scott, I have to agree with you 100%, and I also, think that when you are reiterating something, I think it's important because there seems to be so many layers to what needs to be done in this business, and I think people complicate it, but what you're really saying is it's really quite simple, and if you just keep doing the basic things over and over again and do them right and duplicate it, you're going to get success.
Yep, that's right. And find out what people want, because you never know, what people consider success. And I didn't really plan on sharing this story, but it just kind of, I was at the lake the other day with my mom, and we were watching in the cove across. There was a family out there, and they were trying to teach their kids how to water ski. And I think you water ski over there. And but anyway, there was I don't know, a young gal. She was probably in her early teens or mid-teens. She was young, and she kept trying to, it was behind a wave runner is what it was, and I'll make this short, but basically she struggled getting up on those skis, and probably after about 4 or 5 times she was starting to get tired, and you could see it because her skis kept falling off, and she'd have to battle the water, putting her skis back on and readjust her jacket. But you know what? Finally, she got up, and she got up for probably about 3 seconds. And when she crashed and she got up, she screamed because she was so excited. And most people would look at that and say she failed. But you know what? Her goal was not to ski. It was just to get up. And she did it. And once she got up for about those 3 or 4 seconds, she was done. But it was like, you know, everybody else that was watching her would have said that she failed. But in her mind, she succeeded because she finally got up on skis. And it didn't matter if it was 3 seconds or 3 minutes, she got up. And point is you never know what people's goals are. And if you find out what people want and you help them get there, that's leading by example, and that's helping others, and that's what we're all about too.
It's a great story, Scott, because it's a very salient point that you don't know what other people consider success until you actually speak to them and get them to set their goals. It's a very valid point.
That's right.
And just looking at the next question, something that we've done in the changes and the enhancements that you referred to today is that, you know, can you explain the impact, if any, that social networking and the other technologies that we're embracing and looking with our website, that what we're doing with our online technologies, how we're improving them as a company, you know, how we're implementing social networking across the board. Can you comment on any impact that that's had on the company and on the distributors?
Yeah, and obviously, Bernie, this is something that's, you know, not just new to the industry. And when I say new, I mean in the last 10 or 15 years. Because 10 or 15 years ago, we didn't have, you know, the internet and social networking and things like that. And there's lots of people out there that use it successfully. But if you kind of boil it all down, you know, what is social networking? What do things like Facebook and Twitter do? I mean, it allows us to do what? It kind of opens up our center of influence a little bit. It kind of expands our warm market. You know, where before maybe our warm market was just maybe some family or friends. I think social networking, things like Facebook and Twitter, open that up, and it makes it creates a bigger center of influence, and it does one thing. It allows us to attract more people, which is, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is trying to attract more people and trying to make things faster. And as we attract more people, then you've got more people to talk to. And because this business will always be a face-to-face, and you know, it's a one-on-one or a two-on-one. But social media, it's a way to attract more people, which is, at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for, to be attractive to that, you know, to that big population out there, that big market that we talked about earlier.
Well, yeah, that's interesting, Scott, because I read a definition recently about social media, and it said there's all different types of it. And obviously, our industry is always being considered one-to-one, and social media is considered many-to-many, and it's the only one that's ever actually done that and been successful.
That's right.
So, therefore, with everything that we've talked about and the answers that you've given for these questions, how will we continue to grow?
Well, like we've said, we're going to continue to, you know, we've got a great product first and foremost, and we've got great people, Bernie, and it's like you said, you're relatively, you know, not new to the industry, but you know, you're 7 months old with our company, and you've had, I think, had a good impression of just the company and the people, and that's important for people like me to hear. Is we've got a great reputation out there, and we've got a tremendous industry, and like I said, when I was at the DSA, you know, a half dozen people come up and say, you guys are one of the best companies in this entire industry. You guys have got a great product. You've got great people. You've got a great reputation. There's a lot of people that look up to what you guys do. And again, no one prompted them to say things. They say that because, you know, that's how they feel. And we do, and it makes me proud, and we do. We've got a great, we've just got a good thing going here, and we have to help more people, get what they want, and we can never stop sharing. Like I said, focus on your front lines, and think about it. If everybody focused on the front lines, but the depth kind of takes care of itself, and that's how we're going to continue to grow, Bernie. We're going to stay focused. We're not going to be satisfied. We want to lead by example. We want to be consistent, and we want to be more attractive to more people. So.
Okay, well, Scott, with everything else that you said, the actual title of our webinar today is Reliv the Place to Be. So this is probably a great opportunity to really summarize everything that you've talked about, because you've covered a lot of stuff and a lot of really relevant stuff that I'm sure our distributors have really gained from. So why is Reliv the place to be?
Well, I guess I would ask is how is it not? With the things that I just mentioned there a little bit. Just the reputation that we have, the industry that is available to us, the size of the marketplace. That's one thing we've got. We've got fantastic products that work and good people, and there's only really one thing that's holding us up, and it's there's not enough people that know about who we are and what we're doing. And so I would say, how are we not the place to be? I mean, we've got so much potential, and I would just, and I know I'm biased, and people would expect me to say those things, but I really believe it, and I think we all do, and I think you do, Bernie, and I know. I shouldn't say I think. I know you do, and I know Sue does, and I know all of us, Bob and Sandy and Dr. Carl. We're celebrating 25 years, but quite honestly, the next 25 years, there's no reason why, we say $1 million a month. There's no reason why we can't be in the next 10 years, we can't be double of that. And that's the kind of potential we have. And the only thing that's holding us back is we just don't have enough people in our company, and that's what we're going to impact. Every little thing that we do is to attract more people, and because that's if anybody's looking for a secret, or if anybody's looking for the key, that's the key. We've got to have more people in our company, and more people sponsoring, more people consuming, more people building a business, and so that's I guess my answer is why would people not want to be a part of what we have?
Well, Scott, that's a great answer, and I know that I've been incredibly impressed ever since day one, and I get out there and I meet our leaders. We've got some fantastic leaders, people who are so excited and enthusiastic about the opportunity in the business and what they offer to people. And I agree with you. There's no reason we can't double that vision over the next 10 years. It's something that we can do, and I'm really looking forward to it. I want to thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today, Scott. I'm sure our distributors have been very happy with everything that you've given them today, a lot for them to go away and think about and to implement. And again, I just want to thank you so much for being with us today, Scott.
Well, I'm happy to do this anytime, Bernie, and I wish everybody, just one more little closing thought, Bernie, and just after our ignition events, and you've been out on the road quite a bit the last several, 8 weeks or so after that ignition event. We're starting to see the numbers. We're starting to see, the results, and we're happy about that. And you're doing a fantastic job. We appreciate that. And anytime that I can be on, a webinar like this or a call, you just obviously let me know, or let any of us know, because we're all here available to you and to all the distributors to support, the best that we can. So we're not successful. Reliv is not successful unless our distributors are successful, and we're happy with where the numbers are heading and the things that we're hearing. So we should have nothing but just good things to look for the rest of this year, 2013, and and into 2014. So yeah, nice job on the call, and I just want to thank you and Sue for having me.
Scott, you're more than welcome, and thank you so much for the recognition. And we love being a part of it, and we love what's happening here. And what I'd like to do is just update everybody with some great updates that we've got happening with our ignition updates. And of course, in New Zealand for this quarter, we've updated our New Zealand Quick Cash promotion, which is absolutely a fantastic promotion that the Kiwis are taking to heart, and they are going out there and sponsoring like crazy. And got to hand it to the New Zealanders. They can't accept that Australia's a bigger market than New Zealand, and they're out there, and some months they're beating Australia in sponsoring, and other months they're really close. So really great, and I'm really pleased with you guys, and great acknowledgement to you, and great kudos to you all. And this Quick Cash promotion, of course, as it says, AS50 active New Zealand distributors receive $30 commission on the sale of an essential nutrition kit to preferred customers, and that's through until 30th September 2013. I'm not going to go into detail with that right now, because you can actually go online on our website and see about this. You can call us in the office and ask us about it. But this is a sensational promotion that we've had running, but we've actually upgraded it, and we've made it even better. And we've spoken with the leaders, and this is what the leaders have asked for, and this is what we've delivered. And again, it's in consultation, and we're really looking forward to the results that are going to come out of the New Zealand Quick Cash promotion. And of course, last week we had our winners, our very first Facebook only Get Out There and Get It Done Facebook promotion, and we posted it at 3 p.m. on Monday of last week, and that was the first distributor to sponsor a quick start last week, and the distributor who sponsors the most AS50s in the week. And what a great week that was. And so you know what, we're going to run this again this week, and this will be obviously posted today 3 p.m. again on Facebook. But guys, we're running it again because it was very successful, and we want to give people a chance to get in there and be first with a quick start for anyone who may have just missed out, and we want people to have a chance to get out there and sponsor those AS50s. And maybe for anyone who might have not caught up with it last week, we want to make sure you get that opportunity. And we really want to make sure that people are realizing that whilst we use so many different media to get out to people, that our first point of call for all communication to the field is Facebook, because we can do it instantly. We can get multiple posts out there in a day. We can get information out to people instantly, and people who have a Facebook account, they get an alert sent to their phone, that actually their mobile phone, that allows them to know that something's happening. And so it is such a great way to communicate to so many people. So there we go. We've got that happening again. And of course, let's not forget, we're getting closer and closer. Sue and I will be heading off to, and Aubrey, our operations manager, will be heading off to the US, to Orlando, for the international conference, which is on in just a few days' time. But then, of course, in October, we have our Australia-New Zealand conference, and that's going to be in Melbourne. And guys, if you're not registered, register. And as I've said time and time again, when you sponsor a brand new distributor, the process is sign up for AS50, register for conference. That should be a part and parcel of every single time that you sign up a new distributor. And when you sign up a preferred customer, don't assume that they may not be interested in conference. It's important to expose every single person that you meet and talk to about Reliv, to expose them to the products and to expose them to the business, because you can't make the decision for them. And it's a great idea to expose every single person to the conference, because something like the conference can be just the thing to get someone across the line who actually wants to start building a business. So I'm really looking forward to catching up with everybody on the 11th and 12th of October in Melbourne. Next week's webinar is going to be on the sales process, so don't miss it. We're going to take you step by step how the sales process works, so you can understand maybe why you're being successful and maybe you don't know, or understand that why you're not being successful as you might want to be. And because when you understand the sales process, you can actually understand where it may be falling down or where it may not be working exactly the way you need it to work. So don't miss next week's webinar. It will be a humdinger. And I want to remind everyone again, get out there, ignite your business. We're behind you. You've heard everything that Scott Montgomery, the president of Asia Pacific for Reliv, has said today. And Lead by example. And you know what? You may not be a leader today, but if you keep getting out there and you keep sponsoring, you keep building your business, and you keep duplicating and you keep doing it and you keep leading by example, even though you're not a leader, you know what? You are a leader and you become a leader. And as your business grows, people will follow your lead. And that's what leading by example is all about. And I want to thank Sue Stone, our Managing Director for Reliv Australia and New Zealand, for being on the webinar today. And I want to thank Scott Montgomery again for being on and all the wonderful words that he gave to us today. And everybody, thanks again, and get out there and ignite your business. Bye all.